Before we go into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick overview of what's transpiring this morning. First, XRP's up about 5% as we found our way back up to the 545 level, as we talked about 2 days ago and yesterday, that it would behoove us not to come back up and retest the 545 area. That's where the weekly support is on the 20-day, but that's also where the falling wedge broke and the ascending triangle pattern meets for the resistance. Currently, we're on the top side of the ascending triangle, and if the weekly candle closes right now, this is what I talked about when it was at 44, 45, 46 on the way back up. This would make it a very suspicious move here, as if we close over 545, especially on the weekly, we would not have in any way tried to invalidate that weekly golden cross. In fact, if it stayed around 50 cents for weeks and weeks and weeks, we would not be able to invalidate it. It would need to sit at 37 cents for several weeks for this to recross to the downside. As we've talked about, we've had in the first two instances of the weekly golden cross a better than 60% drop. This is the third instance. We had a 54% drop. So that means every single time you have a weekly golden cross, you would drop at this point at least 54%. That's a substantial liquidity sweep. And right now, though, we are on top of that weekly golden cross. We talked about once we got on top of 51 cents, that was the weekly 200-day. Now our job before Sunday was over, and this is just 48 hours ago we were talking about this, our job was to get over the 545 level, or the 543 at worst. And right now we are. So this makes it a very interesting paradigm here for when the weekly candle closes. If we close here, it's a beautiful hold, and it's nothing but a weekly wick. So make sure you use positivity over negativity. Make sure you don't have emotion that dictates your perception and reality of what's going on here within the charts. And make sure you are positive. You use positivity over negativity. We're an inclusive environment here. And the reason why I wanted to do a quick intro is this is a very, very important update. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel and joining the over 18,100 subscribers. And this update this morning is going to make you realize why there's a lot of false narratives going on. But when you are looking at certain time frames, especially the weekly, you can wick down during the week, and as long as you come back up within proportion, by the end of the week, by the candle close, it's nothing more than a week. Right now, the weekly golden cross, a lot of people think was invalidated. It has not even been close to invalidated. Make sure you hit that like button, and I'll catch you on the other side of the intro. And also, make sure you give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this Sunday. I'll be going to church later this morning. I know some people say you don't need to go to church to pray or to show your spirit. I don't go to church because I think you have to. I go to church to try to be around the spiritual connection. Started going back about 4 months ago, 3.5 months ago. But it also helps lead to a positive mindset. But if you're at home praying, if you're in your safe space praying, wherever that may be, that's how it's meant to be. You just give thanks. I'll catch you on the other side of the intro. Good morning, 9:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, August 20th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So as we can see, XRP is up 4.82%, back up to the 545 level. We have 100% done exactly what we talked about. We'll go into the short-term chart and we'll work our way out. But in the short term, we talked about, is this a bear flag or a bull flag the last couple days? We knew the technical breakdown, if we broke down, which we weren't anticipating, it would be 435. We were anticipating the retest. As I told everybody, it behooved us not to come up here and retest at least the breakdown of the falling wedge and that ascending triangle resistance, which we have now come back above at 545. The importance of this, as we've been talking about, is on the weekly. Now it closes in 10 hours and 32 minutes. On the weekly, as we can see, the wick came all the way down to the 435. Now it pulled back up. Now if the candle were to close right here, and you really just need to be above 542, but 545 gets you back above the 20, or 55 cent area now. But we really need to stay above the 5.4. At worst case, about the 5.4, I guess, suppose you could say. We'll just say 5.45, 5.43 area. 5.45 would be great. But that would pull that weekly wick up. And as you know, we had the Goldencross. We needed a liquidity sweep. We got much more than we anticipated on the initial move down. Didn't quite come to the 2020 uptrend at 37 cents. But nonetheless, we've now pulled back up over the ascending triangle support. So when we look at this from smaller time frames now, and we continue to point out the fact on these deep dives, the volume's just not there. We had over 500 or 450 million in the weekly here. And now even on this sell-off, we're at 122 million in the weekly. That doesn't seem to be getting things done, ladies and gentlemen. 122 in the weekly, and then we had that big of a deep dive. Better than 30% correction. Now we've pulled right back up. That's the beauty of this. We've pulled back up. You can see on the all-time pattern here, this chart, if we were to break down farther, would have been at 37.45 approximately. That's the 2020 uptrend. That's how we get there. And we're trying to break out of this formation because if you play true, it can bring you all the way to August of 25. However, first layer to get over here is this 54.5 cents, which we've gotten. And then after that, this is where it gets interesting. If we can get back up into this formation, let me bring it down into a smaller time frame so we can see where we're trending here and moving. XRP right now, inconsistency in this candle. This is a gravestone doji right now. This, if this is how it plays out, the next candle you would expect to come back down and consolidate. Because we're going to have to see. So we want to make another bounce here, though. That would be, objectively, we would want to make another bounce. If we come lower, we just don't want to lose the 200-day here at 5. We might come down to 54 cents if we come back through. Otherwise, we need to get back over the falling wedge and our next layer. So now we'd be looking at about 55.4. If we can hold this, this looks like a nice formation right now, similar to this. Might have to consolidate, maybe have a little wick down. But right now we're looking firmly to consolidate this move, or to confirm this move up, and the 200-day support right now on the 30-minute is exactly what we're trying to do. Would probably come down here a little bit for a little liquidity, down to about 54 cents if this candle plays out. Nobody says it has to play out, though, in a bearish fashion. It's just if it plays out. So 30 minutes not as bad, I suppose. But we'll see how this plays out. If it needs a little bit of a correction, you're going to retest that 200-day right down around 539 area. That's just where it would go. That's standard operating procedure. It's come up now and retested this area we talked about yesterday. If we can hold this support and close today above 545, that is ultimate signs of bullishness. If we could close even higher at about 553, that's even better. If somehow you got back on top of the ascending triangle at like 576, which I don't anticipate today, that would be the biggest sign of strength to get back on top of there. But as it is, to get back up here in the weekly time frame above the 545 is critical. Well, 543 as we talked about, to stay above there for the weekly. We still have, like I said, we've got about got some time left here still for the weekly. We've got about, what is that, 11 hours, 10 and a half hours if we go back into the weekly. 10 hours and 28 minutes. So that's what we're looking for the weekly close. Everything else is looking okay. Even though this could be a fake J hook down, we're on top of the 200-day and the daily. We need to recross eventually that 60 cents, though, and invalidate that bearish cross. That could be our first signal of a further correction, but we won't know unless we see how these closes start happening. Right now, we've come up and retested. As I said, it behooved us not to come up here, even if we're going to have a further move down. So watch this area, 543 approximately. Stay over the ascending triangle and then ultimately get back over the falling wedge. But first step first, stay over that. Maintain the 200-day and the 30-minute time frame at 53.9 cents if we do correct here a little bit. And then we see how we play out at the daily close. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you got anything out of this, make sure you hit that like button, as it will really help push my content through the analytics on YouTube. And we'll get more people like you and I in here to have an active discussion. And then if you enjoy what I do, join the over 18,100 subscribers and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this Sunday. Make sure you use positivity over negativity, and make sure you're being inclusive. Stay blessed, everybody, and I'll catch you after I get back.